Welcome back to my channel, Aquarius. Much love and thanks out to my existing subscribers and all those that are new to my channel. Welcome. I always appreciate your support and your time. So, quick reminder, these are general readings, cannot speak to all. Everyone's at different stages of their life path with unique situations. So again, just allow for variances on the time. You won't all be sharing that same life story. So again, allow for flexibility on the time frames. But more generally, this is a reading for March 1st through to the 14th of 2021, career, money, and finance. So I will be using the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor and the Rider-Waite deck as well. So the first card out is the card of envy. So generally, this card could be others in awe of your accomplishments or your ability to save, while others are struggling during this difficult time, of course, with the pandemic, and certainly resources may be a little more challenging for some. But however this resonates for you, envy obviously is a part of life and everyone has their moments. So, but just to speak more generally of envy, on both sides of the coin here, if this resonates for you as in, you are somebody who's coming from a position of, success and talent and, well connected, there are still others that may be feeling a little more lax. So again, however this card relates for you around your particular situation and your scenario. So there is some kind of energy here either way that is either going to be putting you on notice that you need to be more alert to what's going on around you, or that you need to focus more on your own abilities and how to bring things forward. So either way, if we're not our own cheerleaders or support system on that front line, then you're the cheerleader for someone else, basically. So whatever, which of course, when that happens, it's taking away from your own power. So it's only when we come from that lack mindset that we really start to think that we are losing out on something at the hands of another, or that someone must lose and able for another to win. But in actual fact, I think that we all get our 15 minutes at some, 15 minutes of fame, as they say, on some stage or at some stage in our lives. And it's less about, really taking from one another and more about how we use what we've got. So that's more what I wanted to add around that card. So there's more than one opportunity and there's more than one angle for us all to achieve. We're all unique, and when we allow for the other to shine, it automatically sets us apart. When we stand in our power and we stand for the things that are true to are aligned for us. So again, when you try to fit a mold, and there's generally going to be a lot of competition that can be a little fierce and ugly when you're trying to fit a mold. But if you're doing something in your own unique way that's true for you, you'll stand apart. So in that way, you're less inclined to be gravitating toward positions that are maybe a little more cutthroat and challenging. But either way, there's still challenges regardless throughout life. So moving on, next card out is the Angel of Strength. So this card came through a couple of times for you, and you'll see that further out with the Rider-Waite deck, but it is basically, the card of strength, and you do have an angel that's looking out for you to protect you during this time, because it did appear that there was going to be a lot of challenges in this 2-week period of March, that shows that there's for sure some negotiation, strategizing, conflict, that kind of thing for sure that's coming through, but there's also some positives in there as well. So again, the Angel of Strength is helping you through this energy. So whether that's to unblock yourself from judging yourself against another, with the envy card, and to rein things back in so that you can gauge things from a more realistic standpoint, from that central point within, rather than things external to yourself. Either way, this should be the only metric that we really consider anyway, because growth is all about us. It's all about our personal growth, and personal growth is our responsibility. So, as long as you're better than you were yesterday, progress, not perfection, as that old adage goes. So studies have also been shown, just wanted to throw this out there, that, once you're able to measure your own success and view your own progress more realistically, you're less enamored by the outside comparisons, and you're more in control of your own actions and your thoughts. So you'll be able to advance faster because there's more momentum. You feel more, you're more you're backing you. You're more aligned with you. You're feeling more positive. There's more energy because you are backing you. So again, for this period, as I say, for the 2 weeks, it does feel like there's a lot of back and forth energy. I don't feel that, you're being maybe objective enough to see how far you've actually come. And that could stand along the lines of, emotionally, you may not see how far you come, or spiritually or mentally or physically. However, again, that relates to your circumstances. But, it's human to draw comparisons and look for patterns, but it's an unfair metric when you don't know another's advantages or their starting point, or how much work that they actually put in, behind the scenes to achieve something. So you can't possibly really measure yourself on that basis, because your starting point and all of the other factors surrounding it are very different. And emotionally, you may have had more emotional challenges than another, or maybe those emotional challenges that somebody else had actually served to propel them forward faster. But, whatever the circumstances, what matters is not just where we stand, but again, how far we've come. And it's not just on the material front, but how much work has been done behind the scenes to prepare in other ways, to endure that inner work that brings about our inner strength, which again, that's where the strength card is coming in, to prepare yourself in standing up for yourself, for example, which I do feel is is a card that is very relevant for you in this first 2 weeks. It does feel like you will be standing up for yourself and really empowered, but it just feels like there is, when you do take on these challenges, it does turn into an ability eventually. So, we tend to forget that there's more than one area of preparation to persevere through a challenge, and it only comes from having those multiple engaging opportunities, meaning challenge after challenge, to hold your position and advance. So your mind needs to be in a good place to create that momentum. And that work is done both internally, not just externally. So if you're just looking at the external, this person has, that person drives, this and so on, you're not really meeting all the requirements of, how to level up for your stage of success. You have to do the inner work as well to maintain those things, even if you were able to bring yourself to that point. So give yourself some credit for doing the prep work required to approach each level. Things speed up when you least expect it, and just don't lose focus. So, okay. And also just wanted to add in as well, having a system in place to measure what you need to do week to week or month to month, year to year, really lets you see your own progress. Because again, I think a lot of times we don't really see our own progress. We're in the moment. It's a little hard to be objective. It's not easy to see all that you've hurdled over, when you're just getting busy or keeping busy doing, busy tasks, and it all just sort of merges together in a complete mirage of events. But overall, that strength card is a card of endurance and persistence and taking back control over your own thoughts, and just basically taking control over your life more generally to master whatever you're challenged by. So following that, we've got the thinking man. And that speaks to a wise person, or someone who presents as a wise teacher, or a teacher in some way that could be assisting you professionally. So it could be with regard to business advice, or how to narrow your focus in a particular area on a personal front, or maybe it's just finding a specialty or a niche that you can expand with, or, just moving past whatever emotional restraints you're watering yourself down with to maintain this holding pattern. So the only way through a holding pattern, or familiarity, is by taking action. So often we're staying within that comfort zone, and we're accepting, a position of how we feel today. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's any predictive element of how you will feel in the days to come. So again, this is just one stage of the game. There is going to be plenty more situations where you're going to have to move ahead and take on more challenges. But there's no need to force yourself into suffering, is basically what I'm saying. So more importantly, accepting ourselves as imperfect, flawed beings allows you to stop suffering and to move forward in a more meaningful experience and to take a more active role and participate in the moment. And you're really just going to enjoy, what you're presently creating or involved with. So by removing the obstacle and accepting what that you can't do anything about it at this moment, you can then stop fighting whatever reality that you think exists around you, and you can proceed despite the obstacle, more importantly. So again, I did feel that there was a person that's coming in here, and there's definitely something here with the thinking man. So that person that's coming in could be a new love interest or a partner or a friend or a business associate or, a professional that you're meeting, something along that line. But either way, as I said, it just feels as though it's some kind of a teacher that's coming in to give you some advice or to help you, to just to move ahead and advance and certainly, maybe expedite however it is that you're choosing to do something. So it could be somebody who's just more of an expert in a particular area, but I think it's going to take you out of this holding pattern is what I'm feeling or what I'm sensing. So again, it's taking you out of that comfort zone, and it's helping you to just take some steps forward and into materializing whatever this idea or this project is that you're working on in that first 2 weeks of March. So again, for some of you, I do feel that, because of this person or because of this connection maybe to this person, it does feel like you're in the seat of learning some new skill or a mental shift, or, you're showing some kind of technique here that's going to change things for you going forward with your business aspirations or personal work as it relates to employment. And again, some of you, it's in your business aspirations, but whatever that is for you, it just feels like some of you will be in a position as the helper or the teacher, or someone's coming in for you as the helper or the teacher. But I feel for the majority, this is an incoming energy of someone that will be more advantageous to you as the year unfolds. So the next card out is fifth chakra, Archangel Gabriel. And this is still about expressing yourself in some way, staying in your truth and being clear with your message, with whatever it is that you need to stay on point on. But this month will be a time where you're going to be able to more clearly communicate and be heard. So you need to take the time to honor these moments, to align yourself, when you're empowered by this kind of energy, to bring something forward and represent your ideas with confidence, because confidence is definitely something that will help you to go forward. So following these cards is the card of deceit. And of course, that's also followed up by other cards of deceit. So clearly there's a warning here in this first 2 weeks. So, it just looks like you're going to be standing up for yourself, in a way that represents a more courageous conviction. You really have to be confident in your position. It just feels like there's something more to be said, and maybe more directly in, maintaining a position that you feel is aligned with your project, or maybe on a personal level with a partnership. However, again, that, resonates for you, but it just feels like you need to be more in line with your truth. And for others, you're to be more guarded, about revealing too much. So just staying to things in a matter-of-fact way, concise and logical. And that really may be all that's needed here. But because it's come out several times, it just feels like there's going to be some petty arguments and maybe a little bit of manipulation going on here too. Maybe it's just manipulation that's going on to leverage a position, but either way, I just feel that you just need to be direct with whoever it is that you're dealing with. So again, for others, it feels like I'm dealing with 3 different groups here, but for others, it can be a card about low self-esteem, not feeling worthy. That need to be aware of your self-talk is some kind of underlying energy here. But to be your own best friend, as they say, and, seeing your own value, just making sure you draw a very clear line to others, about what you'll accept and what you can't accept, having some boundaries. because I feel that you're going to have to implement some new strategies here. There's going to be a lot of negotiation that's going on for a lot of you here, and again, whether that's personal, professional, however that relates around your finances. But, wherever it is that you're going to be allocating most of your energy in this first 2 weeks, I feel that you're going to have to do some negotiation and, again, implementing new strategies, making sure you have some boundaries in place. What you invest in, you become, as they say. So, if you're learning and growing in another area of your life as well, just as a side note for some, you're also less inclined to be more reactive or feel the burden of whatever you're facing at this moment, because you're also doing something else to grow in another area. So, just to be noteworthy of that for those that are, countering some self-esteem issues. But it just feels like, I say, there's a little bit of a burden here. But you do have the card of patience, and certainly does feel like this is an angel guardian of some sort that's protecting you during this challenging period here. But, as I said, I just feel that you need to support yourself during this time. So consider what is the best way to support yourself when you're challenged. How can you concede if required, but make your decisions not from a place of loss or you risk, sending yourself that message that you're not empowering yourself or in control of your choices. And you actually are very much in control of your choices. So again, with that card of patience, you need to allow yourself the time to let go of limiting beliefs and any feelings of desperation or any other restricting thoughts that don't allow you to be anything, less than who you should be. And what I mean by that is, don't allow yourself to be anything less than how you really see yourself. If you're seeing yourself as, having to be perfect, that's not a realistic idea, so, nobody is perfect. It's our failings that actually grow us, and that allows these challenges to, level you up. So be your own advocate, know that taking a narrow view of yourself or events is not realistic. The world is a broad playground, as they say. There's urgent matters, everything's immediate, and everything's at our fingertips. So it can often bring on a lot of anxiety and loads of distraction. But I feel for this first 2-week period, the message to you for the first 2 weeks of March is to slow things down, relax, don't push yourself. Negotiate from a place of power. Don't allow yourself to be pulled in any specific direction until you have a clear understanding of what actions you need to take based on what you value, believe, or you can stand behind, and that you have a better idea of the risks associated with the potential gains. So it's important when you're negotiating to know, as many angles as you could possibly know, so that you can leverage your position, but also be aware of, the context in which somebody else is operating, so that you can try to find some middle ground there. But it's a time to be open and to receive and redirect your energies to more of a place of control over yourself and your intentions, is what I would say. Okay, so moving into the first and second week here with the clarifying cards. So the Rider-Waite deck is more specific to, what the details of the events are. So the clarifying cards, as I said, speak to that same energy with the oracle cards, where you're starting out with something hidden, something under wraps here, or some kind of sneakiness, or again, could be a type of, or a kind of manipulation, because the Devil card comes out a couple of times here, could be dealing with a Capricorn, but it just feels like there's just something that's yet to come to the surface for you to deal with. Now, it could for whatever reason, I just feel that this is your energy with the King of Cups, even though I know it's not necessarily speaking to you, astrologically, but I do feel that this is your energy with the King of Cups. So I do feel that this is, because it falls between the card of, the sneakiness and the Moon card, to me, it really foretells that you are in the middle of this energy. So you're in that middle energy of things yet coming to the surface. Again, it could also involve, for sure, a King of Cups could represent, attributes or characteristics of other signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. But either way, the first week or the first of that week looks like it's challenging, because it's also followed up by not only the moon card, where there's some things yet to come to the surface, could also just be representing your anxieties or your sense of, loss or boredom here with the Four of Cups. But it can also be, as I say, with the Seven of Swords coming up more than once, and that devil energy, it just feels like there's more, it just feels like it's somebody else's energy that's coming in here that's disrupting things. And it does look like, you are challenged by it. Certainly with the Four of Cups and the Strength card coming out twice, it really does speak to even more unusual movement there. So, but either way, I just feel that with the Queen of Swords coming in here, that there is some movement. There's some clarity that's coming through here within the next few days around the issue, or that you're dealing with a Libra energy. But either way, you're to remain, as was repeated with the Oracle cards, with the Angel of Strength, and this also is followed up by the Emperor. I feel that you really need to, and with the Strength card here again, repeated, I just feel that you're really to remain as the Emperor, in control of things. Try to maintain a position of authority here. But again, some of you might be dealing with a lot of authorities here, but I just feel for a lot of you, the Emperor is just to behave as a leader with integrity, confidence, self-control when you deal with these negotiations. But again, it could represent someone you're dealing with. In fact, the King of Cups, as I said, could represent, or could also be that you're dealing with more of an emotional matter between the Seven of Swords and the hidden dynamic, of the moon. But it could be secrets you're keeping or another. But either way, it looks like something is missing for you in that first week emotionally with that Four of Cups energy, or something's being held back. So the Emperor may come into play as, again, a wise teacher that's coming through. Certainly possible, because we do have it coming through with the Knight of Swords. And this is an energy of something, coming in rather quickly. So I feel that this teacher, or maybe this is somebody who is more of an authority that is going to be giving you some advice, as I said, on moving the project forward, but wise teacher, that kind of thing. But either way, it's something that is coming through with a great deal of action to be implemented here with the Knight. But again, if we are taking it in that other direction here, for some of you, the Emperor and the Knight of Swords coming in so swiftly can also indicate that there's a challenging issue that needs to come to light and able for it to be dealt with. And that could be where because there's just so many swords in this reading, that it just feels like you've got some challenging times ahead here for the first 2 weeks. More of a confrontational energy is what I would say, with that combination and some harsh words. But we've also got the Three of Pentacles, and this is a collaborative energy. So for some of you, this Emperor may be the teacher coming in with some strong energy to increase your productivity or improve your skills or develop your talents in some way. But it's more of a social energy, and one of applying yourself in such a way that you're taking on the position of the Queen of Pentacles here, followed by the Nine of Cups. So for sure, for some of you, it could represent a person, and certainly somebody who's nurturing around you, that is practical, deals with the home front, side business, that kind of thing, entrepreneurial energy as well. But for me, it just spoke to more of a passion project that you're working on that requires a skilled hand, mind, unique talent to be cultivated and practiced, that kind of thing. It doesn't feel like it's an overnight success. This is more of a practical energy and more detail-oriented progress, but it's something you're very much invested in with the Nine of Cups. And of course, with the 9, you're getting close to, things, the completion of that project. And certainly with the Fool energy coming in as well, it does look like you're sort of in the throes of the end line of this project, whatever it is. But I just feel that you're continuing on this journey. which looks to be uncharted territory. Like, I feel like you're really having to be quite unique and dynamic in some way, or at least have a fresh mindset about the direction that this is being taken, in your negotiations, because and communication seems to be at the forefront here. Definitely a lot of new possibilities around your project, or has some great productivity tips, that you might have to be implementing here. And that's why it feels like it's kind of removed you from, your status quo, or a position that you were, firmly rooted with the idea. But it just feels like you're having to shift your mind, or shift some aspect of this project to, continue creating what it is that you're passionately committed to here. We've also got the Seven of Wands. So I feel that you're having to take some courage along this new path, or there's some kind of a mind shift, again, where you're really having to use your talents wisely here. You can't be I don't feel that you can be unstructured about this. It feels like it requires some real precision, foresight to create this. And certainly when it comes through with the Chariot card, it feels like there's a lot of determination required to move this project ahead. Maybe there's some kind of a deadline here, but I feel that you're really focused on overcoming the obstacles during this period, of the first 2 weeks of March, and you're really putting in the hard work to, make it happen. So we also have the Hierophant, which can represent a Taurus energy, or that this project may be dealing with a contract, whether that's through a government or a corporate entity, or that you're in some way dealing with an educational institution, or around something where traditional rules apply, or standards are, enforced or required, that you need to maintain. And it just feels like you're dealing with a lot of authorities for sure on this project, or a lot of people that, have, maybe this is a lot of checks and balances in terms of opening a business or something along that line. But either way, this is a real undertaking, and for others, again, in terms of a position in a workplace, it just feels like there is a lot of a load, a bigger project that you're working on in terms of a team. But following this, there's also the Death card. So that is followed by the Star and the Six of Pentacles. Okay, my star got somehow shifted when I laid out the cards, but there is a Star card in here, and I'll bring it forward in a minute. But in the meantime, I'll just go through these cards here. Just when I shifted the cards over, I guess some of them got moved around here a bit. But anyway, nonetheless, the Death card and the Six of Pentacles, it just feels like there's some kind of a compromise that needs to be made, and able to ensure the successful accomplishment of this project, which is further, enforced really, or enhanced, whatever, with the six. There's the Star, with that Six of the Victory card, Six of Wands, and of course 2 sixes. For sure you're trying to find some balance, and you found it with the outcome of this project. So in that first 2 weeks, I feel that you've arrived at some kind of a compromise, and able to go ahead and go forward and actually accomplish the project. I don't feel like it's being accomplished in the first 2 weeks here, but it definitely feels like there's some kind of a change that had to be made. Maybe there was a loss of your original idea, and it had to be, refurbished in some other way, but really it's just dealing with an issue to ensure the best outcome. So we're now moving into the second week. And again, a lot of swords coming through here. So we also have the second week starting out with the Ten of Swords. So for sure there is some kind of resolution here of whatever it is that you're about to go forward with. You guys have come to some kind of a conclusion. So one part of this is completed, and now you're getting ready to transform into the next phase of the original idea, or of your passion project, or, you're ready to move on to some kind of a change in your life in terms of employment. But either way, it just feels like the original project or part of an idea has transformed, and it's now been shifted to be able to go forward and learn something new. So this is a new opportunity for some of you that are seeking employment, but for sure it's an eager start, to learn something new, whether that relates to a new job or a new position in an existing job, or you're following up with a new idea, passion project that's, in addition to, work that you're already doing, but there's some kind of newness anyway about it. There's a new project, and you're taking action on it. There's clarity here. You're facing up to whatever needs to be done, basically, and you have a strong ability to concentrate here and really communicate, where you're headed. Where you're going. So we also have the abundance card, also a Libra energy, but with the Empress, I feel that this is a part of that really brilliant idea, and with the Swords energy as well. Just the fact that the two of them have come up together, to me, really indicates that you are in a place where you really have elevated this idea. This is something that is just, it's been revamped, adjusted, transformed, and it's just, now it's a bigger than life kind of idea. Maybe it was added to in some way, rather than downsized. But either way, it just feels like it's a whole new idea, basically. With the Queen of Wands, that can also represent as a Leo energy around you in, that second week, or a mature person that's coming through, or somebody who's just very career-oriented, fiercely determined to get things done and expand on this idea, project, and however, again, that resonates for you. It may be just in your work, you're really excited and enjoying what you're doing, but it's making changes to really ensure success. So it may take some time here to really fully feel the effects of that, because we've got the Three of Wands, which can also indicate that there's some kind of delay, but it also indicates that there's an expansion, regardless of that delay. So, but it is a project, and you're making changes to really ensure that success, as I said, but there's expansion in this month, or progression forward. Certainly with all the Swords energy around it, I feel there's a lot of strategizing, conflict, sacrifice, anxiety going forward. Certainly we do have, the Five of Swords coming in here, and then we've also got the Devil energy speaking to the same, heaviness, as well as, I'm going to say, with the Devil energy, between what's being manifested here and the Ten of Cups, to me it feels like, and certainly with that Five of Swords earlier here, to me it feels like there's a lot on the line, or there's some kind of risk involved. So it may take some time with the Three of Wands to grow this and expand this. And again, with all the Swords energy, there's a lot of strategizing, conflict, sacrifice, anxiety. But with the Five of Swords and the Devil, there might be some manipulation of others not in support of the direction that you're headed with this idea. And that may be where you're tripped up so repeatedly at these different stages of development. The Ten of Pentacles, as I said, sort of between that Seven of Swords and the Nine of Swords here, which is just following. Well, anyway, I'll pull that out here in a second. Everything is kind of... Okay, I'm going to take the Devil energy out here and the... sorry, there's our Nine of Swords. Okay, so with the Devil energy between the Ten of Swords and the Nine, with the Ten of Pentacles between the Nine of Swords and the Devil energy, again, it feels like there's a lot on the line here, and that there is some kind of real investment taking place. So again, a lot of strategizing. Certainly feels like this is an idea of yours that you've manifested, you created, passion project, or something that you just really wanted to, get involved with, but there's risk here. And it feels like it's a considerably big risk, but again, it feels like it's something that you're very, that's going to be lucrative for you anyway, in the end, if you follow it through to its, final stages with that Ten of Pentacles energy. So we also have the Two of Pentacles. So I feel that there is a sense that you're juggling between matters of the heart, And I say that because it's so closely combined with the Three of Swords. And again, so much Swords energy, lots of mind matters really weighing you down in that first 2 weeks. But I just feel like for a lot of you, whether this is on the personal front, partnership front, business, or, you're just taking it on, with your own energy, it just feels like you're really attached to this this process. You're really just feeling, and this could revolve around just close connections as well, but however it ties into your finances, there's just a lot of going back and forth around a particular issue or issues. So there's things that are still being worked out this month. It's not really dealing with one issue. It feels like there's a lot of issues that are being surmounted here. But it is followed up with a positive, happiness sun card. So it looks like there's a bright future attached to this completion of the idea, again, project or investment of your time. So despite the fact that, there is still a lot of confusion, and a lot of rapid communication and a lot of maybe a little emotional drama around this. Certainly there's the confusion, but there's a lot of options also that come through with that Seven of Cups. And again, it could be, that there's just a lot of discussion in the directions that this project could go, or maybe you're having this discussion with a partner about what you could be doing in terms of, work and, what's the best option. But it does feel like you come to some kind of resolution here again in that first 2 weeks, because you are taking action with the Six of Swords also coming through here. There's some clearing up of most of these matters, and again, even though it's involving a lot of compromise and negotiation, and it could even represent with that Devil energy coming through so many times, that there is some kind of over-controlling person in the picture here in terms of a partnership, or maybe somebody's more dominant, one of these authorities that you're dealing with. But it just feels like that's a part of the issue. But there's some kind of, as I said, kind of heavy energy around, and it's come through more than once. So could be dealing around the authorities or dealing with a partnership here. Again, personal or professional. Again, there could be some kind of a sacrifice that's also coming through. Again, that Five of Swords repeatedly coming through. And also with the energy of the Queen of Cups, you're really getting clarity. And again, it goes back and forth with the, we've got the Seven of Swords coming through again, and we've got the Page of Swords coming through twice. Now, it feels like there could also be more of a heightened sensitivity, oversensitivity, emotional drama, because there's, cups and swords so prevalent in this reading. So again, a lot of petty arguments in this period of 2 weeks, first 2 weeks of March, but there's just several points where there's negotiations will prove to deal with both sides effectively, because we've got, with the Queen of Cups, we've got the Page of Swords. With the King of Cups, we've also got the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is a little closer to the King of Cups, and that Nine of Wands, meaning, the king might be a little, which could be your energy, more specifically, could be a little more defensive about things. But either way, there's some kind of clarity that's coming through and a resolve. So to get through these difficult points. So overall, as I said, even though there's a bit of defensiveness and there's certainly some anxiety and a lot of, arguments in that first 2 weeks here, and a lot of going back and forth emotionally, I suspect because we've got the Sun card coming through, there is some kind of resolution that's started, and I do feel you've chosen a direction here with the Six of Swords in that first week. You've considered some options, which will probably play out further into the second week here, where you actually, are likely to have some opportunities. Don't know for sure yet, haven't pulled those cards, but that's what I have for you, Aquarius. So stay safe, keep moving forward, and stay tuned for the latter half of March. That'll be from the 15th to the end of the month, and that'll be career, money, finance, and that one will be coming up here very shortly. So again, stay safe and keep moving forward.